Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable my supervisor, Ma'am Zarida and Ma'am May. The Honorable my examiner, Mr. Mukrizal and Ma'am Ira. Let me introduce myself. My name is Patsy Shananda. I'm a student of English Education Study Program. And in this change, I would like to present my thesis proposal about analysis of strategies in translating subtitle in the Lion King movie. I've divided my topic into 3 chapters. The first chapter is about introduction, chapter 2 literature review, and chapter 3 methodology. I'm gonna start with chapter 1, introduction, background of the study. Translation is included as an important part of communication, besides as important aspect in sociolinguistics. Translation plays a role as a unifying language culture from various sources. According to Larson in 1984, he defined that translation process was the transfer of meaning and replacement of the language form of the source language to target language. Even though form could be changed, by the meaning must be preserved. The form refers to the actual words, phrases, clauses, sentences, and paragraphs, and etc. The forms of translation can be in the form of printed media and electronic media. One example of printed media are popular novels such as The Hobbit, The Petit Prince, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, and others. These novels are translated into target language. In addition, many books into languages are used as educational means. Another forms of translation in electronic or multimedia, such as movies, foreign advertisements, games, international news broadcasts, and foreign TV shows made in other countries are audiovisual translation products. In audio translation products, the voice and text have been translated into the language of target country in the form of dubbing and subtitles. Unlike literal translation, a subtitler or the person who translates the subtitle required to have good listening skill to translate. Therefore, subtitles can help audience learn a foreign language through a film. Subtitle translation aims to translate verbal language into writing and to transfer information to viewers in a limited space. Movie had made contribution on the development of teaching and learning translation by the subtitle that deals with changing the form of SL into TL as the definition of translation. There were many translation strategies in subtitling could be applied. Gottlieb in Gaemi and Benjamin in 2010 had devised them into 10 strategies, namely expansion, paraphrase, transfer, imitation, transcription, dislocation, condensation, decimation, deletion, and resignation. There are many movies which include subtitles from foreign countries can be watched by people in Indonesia. One of them is the movie entitled The Lion King. It is popular movie because it is watched by billion people around the world, and nowadays it's highly rated film. Moreover, in the film, the language used is English. The Lion King is a movie that uses a clear and easy to understand utterance. Based on the background, studying subtitling strategies which are used in the Lion King movie is interesting since this animation movie contains many varied grammatical sentences, and the transferred idea to Indonesian subtitles will give many findings to be analyzed. It is a suitable opportunity to study how subtitling strategy apply in this film. Next, statement of the problem. Subtitling is not always an easy work because it has some constraints and limitations. Mostly, the translators have tried various ways to cover the constraints. There are several problems in translation process. There are different language systems in word levels, linguistic levels, and grammatical system. It means each language has different structure, grammar, vocabulary, and etc. Therefore, this problem becomes the concern to be elaborated in this research. Next research question. In this research, there are two research questions. There are what subtitling strategies are applied in Lion King movie, and how are the subtitling strategies applied in Lion King movie. The objective of the study, first one is to investigate the subtitling strategies applied in the Lion King movie, and the second one is to describe how the subtitling strategies are applied in Lion King movie. Scope and limitation. The study focused on translation study. In this case, the researcher concerns on the analysis of subtitling strategies in the Lion King movie. Next, significance of the study. The result of this research were expected to give contribution theoretically or practically. The first about theoretically, this research finding hopefully give the contribution for those who learn English as means of translation study, especially in the subtitling field. It is also expected that the study enrich the knowledge of subtitling in a film or a movie. And practically, this research was expected to be useful to the script writers, producers, and subtitles maker to give more attention to their translation that is important for delivering the message. Besides, it also hoped that this research useful for other researchers to improve their research quality, especially when they would like to carry out some similar researches about translation strategies in the movie. Last is about definition of key term. Translation. Translation is the rendering of something into another language or into one's own from another language. Subtitle. Subtitle is the text of dialogue, speeches, opera, etc. translated into another language and projected to the lower part of the screen. Subtitling strategies is the procedure or a plan of action design used by subtitler in translating word, phrase, sentences, or speaker's utterance. Next, movie. Movie is a sequence of consecutive still image recorded in a series to be viewed on a screen is in such rapid succession as to give the illusion of natural movement or motion picture. And I move to the second chapter about literature review. First, translation. According to Larson, explained that translation consists of transferring the meaning of the source language into the receptor language. This was done by going from the form of the first language to the form of a second language by way of semantic structure. It means that the meaning transferred must be held constantly, only the form changed. Next, according to Baker in 2011, referred it for some professional translator that translation was an art which requires aptitude, practice, and general knowledge, nothing more. But basically, translation was an act of transforming from one form into another. On the other side, translators reproducing the meaning inside the source language text into the form of target language text. The last theory, it's from Nida and Tabor in 1982, defined that translating consists of reproducing in the receptor language the closest natural equivalent of the source language message, first in terms of meaning and secondly in terms of style. In point of meaning, it means that in reproducing or transferring the message, there was an equivalent relationship between source language and target language. So, based on this definitions, it was concluded that translators must pay their attention in reproducing the message in the source language as L to TL. It should be closest and of course not only the meaning but also diction. Due to the definition from the linguist then conclude that translation was the task that deals with two different kind of language. Next, the principle of translation. Duff defined that some general principles of translation were meaning, form, register, source language influence, styles, clarity, and idioms. The process of translation, the first thing that a translator must do is analyzing the source text. After that, the translator starts transfer his analysis and translator begins to restructure and finally gives a complete closest natural equivalent translation to the readers. Next, the kinds of translation. According to Larson in 1984, explained that a given text has form and meaning, and because of that, there are two main types of translation. The first one is form-based, and the second one is meaning-based. The next is about subtitles. Burns Coates in 2010 explained that it's hard for the translator to translate the original text into the target language while matching the lip movements. And according to Gottlieb in 2002, classified it two general categories for subtitling, intralingual and interlingual subtitling. Interlingual subtitling deals with the production of subtitles that remain in the same language as the original and were used for a deaf or hard of hearing or for language learner. Next, standardization of subtitlings based on Karamitoglu in 2000 proposed that there are some regulation, namely position on a screen, segmentation and line length, number of lines, number of characters per line, temporal parameter or duration, punctuation, spoken utterance, and subtitle sentence, and also omitting linguistic items of the original. The next is subtitle strategies. According to Gottlieb in 1992, subtitle strategies are divided into 10 types. They are transfer, imitation, transcription, expansion, paraphrase, dislocation, condensation, deletion, decimation, and resignation. Next, the Lion King movie. So, the object of the study was a movie produced by Jon Favreau, Jeffrey Silver, Karen Gilchrist. According to the movie culture, The Lion King is as one of live action musical drama movie. In here, The Lion King movie, for the sake of the research, its translation was officially published and legal translation. The subtitle was available on original DVD, therefore, the quality of subtitle can be guaranteed. For the sake of the research, in translation was officially published and legal translation. The researcher downloaded the transcript of the Lion King movie from guarantee source. The last one of chapter 2 is about the previous study. In here, there are 3 previous study. They are by Putri in 2016, analysis of subtitling strategies used in Nightcrawler movie. The second is from Simanjunta in 2013 about subtitling strategies in Real Steel movie. And the last one is from Munawaroh in 2008 about subtitling strategies of translation in Babel film. The last chapter in this presentation is chapter 3 about methodology. First, research design. In this research, I, as the researcher, used descriptive qualitative research method based on Kothari in 1990. In 1990, descriptive research includes surveys and fact-finding inquiries of different kinds. It means method all of kinds, including comparative and correlational method. Therefore, this research belonged to descriptive qualitative approach because of some reason. The first, the data were words, phrases, clauses, sentence, and paragraph which are coming from subtitle from the Lion King movie. And the data will be described and suits with the aims of this study. Next, source of data. First, oral data, which are the original dialogue from the movie or movie scripts. And the second, written data referring to the subtitle of the movie. On the screen, there are 2 sources to collect the data from Subsyn and Open Subtitles. In doing this research, the researcher used 2 kinds of data. The data of this research were based on a film entitled The Lion King, released in 2019 and directed by Jon Favreau. Most of the actress and actor had clear pronunciation facilitated by the script. For the sake of the research, its translation was officially published and legal translation. Research instrument. In analyzing the data, the researcher will use a format of table of subtitle strategies categorizing based on Gottlieb's theory to help the researcher identify the data accurately. This research was designed into qualitative one. So the researcher herself was the instrument in this research. In this case, she functioned as the key instrument in performing research. And next, techniques of data collection. The first one is watching the Lion King movie and subtitled version of movies in several times to comprehend the whole story. The second, downloading the English scripts of movies and the subtitle from internet which were in the PDF versions. The third, identifying the Gottlieb subtitling strategies based on the downloaded script. And the last step is classifying the subtitling strategies. In data collection, the researcher collects the data through downloading the English script of The Lion King. So, the data in the form of subtitling of the Lion King movie are collected. After collecting the data, the researcher obtains the raw data. Then the script is compared Indonesian version identified based on Gottlieb subtitle strategies. Next, techniques of data analysis. The data are analyzed by applying the model of Miles and Huberman in 1994. They classified data analysis into four steps in qualitative study, namely data collection, data reduction, presentation, and conclusion. This process was called as interactive analysis. In data collection, the researcher collects the data through downloading the English scripts of the Lion King movie. The data in the form of subtitling of the Lion King movie are collected. After collecting the data, the researcher obtains the raw data. Then the script is compared to Indonesian version to be identified based on Gottlieb's subtitle strategies. The last in chapter 3, it is about trustworthiness of study. In the study, the researcher focuses only on credibility and dependability. The researcher's roles are to check and validate the data. To meet the dependability, the researcher gives the detailed explanation of data collection and data analysis. It is conducted since the observed data are in the form of the utterance used in the movie, which depend on the context. Thank you very much. So this is my presentation about my thesis proposal. Thanks for your attention, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stop, sir. Stop, sir. Stop, sir. Stop record. Stop, sir.